This is Mike with Great Animal Videos. How you doing today? Hope you're doing good. Got something a little different for you today. Haven't had an animal video out lately, but I thought, you know, besides great animals that live in Colorado videos, there's a lot of cool history here that's been lost. And if you come down here to vacation, it's really easy to see some really cool stuff, and I thought I'd show you a couple of cool things today. I'm in the little town of Antonito, Colorado, which is way down at the bottom of Colorado. It's easy to Google map it. But there's a road you can take out of Antonito that leads to some really cool stuff. So I'm going to show you where that road is real quick, and then we'll get moving. So there's the Dollar General in Antonito. It's right on Main Street as you come into town. There's a church and water towers. And this is East 8th Street. That's what it's called here. It changes names when you get into the residential area. It's called Road G. But on the highway, when you come into town, it's called East 8th Street. And you'll know it because here's the water towers. So, okay, I'm going to pause for a minute, and then we'll show you some cool stuff for the next few minutes. So State Bridge is right down here, just down the road, but I want to stop here and show you something because it's kind of cool, just real quick. So if you look over here on the other side of the Rio Grande, you can see all these, it looks like lines, and those are roads. So over in La Vida, which is just the other side of those mountains right there that are snow-capped, I'm gonna zoom out so I get a better view. There's a ski area. It's closed now. It's been closed for 20 or 30 years, but in the 1930s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, it was a big deal. Like, even movie stars were coming out here. And somebody thought that this whole area could be made into a city. And they built a north, south, east, west grid of roads that is miles and miles on the other side of State Bridge. And they were hoping people would come out here. Well, hardly anyone ever came out here. And so it became one of the big busts of Colorado, and it's just kind of lost in history. So, okay, and now we'll just go down and show you State Bridge. So here we are at what I always call the old State Bridge. This bridge has just been here forever and ever. I mean, it was probably built in, I don't know, 1900. It's a wood plank bridge with metal truss, and it's on the Rio Grande River. Something interesting about this river is a lot of people don't realize that down here in southern Colorado, you can fish right here and catch critters like alligator gar, pike, catfish in this river. There's quite a bit here to see. And then amazingly, just recently, they have built, this used to be pretty wasteland area, but they've built a whole picnic area with picnic tables. And now they have restrooms over here, which are right back over here. And a nice little parking area. So you could actually come out here for a day trip. And they have placards over here telling you all kinds of cool stuff. So they put a whole nice little picnic area out here. And this is kind of what it looks like all around here. And yeah, let me just take you over to the bridge for a second and show it to you. So here's this, what I call the old State Bridge. Maybe if someone knows what the official name is for this, they could comment on it if they see it. But it used to be these boards that just went across this way, but it got to be so weak and big vehicles were coming across it that they put these other boards on here. And yeah, so this is the river, and it kind of goes way over there. I've seen people fishing right off the bridge. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't. But it's just really cool. And people have used this to travel from that side of Colorado, maybe from San Luis over to Antonito, on this side of Colorado and southern Colorado, for like 130 odd years. There's a rest area over there. And believe me, a lot of people lived down here in the past, and they did traverse this area. So going this way, which is where we're headed, is where that land boondoggle happened. And I'll show you some people actually got kicked out of a city. So we'll head there next. Old State Bridge. So here's something interesting at this State Bridge site. They have some placards up here. It says here on this one that the first crossing was in 1694 by Don Diego de Vargas, and he found that this just north of here was the safest place to cross. It was eventually replaced by a ferry, and in the 1800s it helped settlers transport livestock, materials, and goods to the west side of the valley. And there's another, this bridge is actually called the Lobato Bridge. Okay, I didn't know that. Built in 1892. It's the oldest wrought iron bridge in southern Colorado, and it's still used to this day, almost in its original form. And something else that's interesting, right here, right next to this bridge, right here, was the Mondragon store. In the 1830s, he was born, and the store was a trading post. In 1856, Mondragon married Maria Leonora Lujan from, I can't pronounce some of these words, I'm sorry. They had 18 children, 5 of them were born and raised right here. Imagine that. And it was part of a large homestead of 150 acres. And it says that the name Mondragon in Basque is Arasate. Did I say that right? Some residents can trace their valley ancestry to Basque, Jewish, and Moorish families dating back to the 14th century. And you know something interesting? My spouse, who is a Filipino, her family name is Butron, which is a Basque heritage name. So I myself kind of find that interesting. All right, we'll see you down the road in a second. So here's something I want to show you, pretty interesting. This steel right here, it says East Dale on it. And right here at this crossroads, which I'm going to drive up and read to you what this says, but there was a big Mormon community here. And, well, let me read you what it says on this steel. It pretty much gives you the history of what actually happened. And you know what? I think this happened a lot in the late 1800s and early 1900s in Colorado, because the water wars out here were terrible. And this steel is a testament to what it was like in the early 1900s. Mormon pioneers settled here in 1890. They built reservoirs, homes, school, church. By 1900, there was 120 population and a post office. A water dispute led to demise of town and sale of lands to Castilla Estate Development Company in 1909. Yeah, and what I understand from doing just a little bit of research, right here, there was 2 reservoirs that the Mormons came out here and they built, and they were just minding their own business and having a nice little community. And these developers came out here with the state and pretty much forced them to lose their water. And so because of that, they had to basically, they took every nail on board took their town apart and went somewhere else. Now where they went, I don't know. That's some other research that, or maybe somebody knows more about this. But anyways, town of Eastdale used to be right here. And that happened in several places in Colorado, same thing. So just some interesting history you might like to come down and see sometime on a day trip if you're out here vacationing. Okay, so here we are out in the kind of middle of nowhere, I'm going to say. And we are at the Mountain View Cemetery, Jaroso, Colorado. And this is a good size cemetery for those of you. Some people like to see this stuff, but it's well maintained. I mean, there's a nice American flag there, and there's quite a few headstones here if you're the kind that likes to go walk through the cemetery and just see the years when people lived and died. And there's a family name on quite a few of these headstones, Anderson. And I don't know anything about that family, but they're pretty important in the history down here. They were a big family. You're going to see that name again when I show you the town of Jaroso. So it just shows you there's a lot of people living down here. I mean, there's hundreds of people buried in this cemetery. It's pretty good size. And the people down here, not just in Jaroso, but other little towns here, used to use that bridge we were on. And they would go over to Antonito every weekend. There was hundreds of people down here, and they had dances every weekend in the 1930s, 40s, 50s, and even into the 60s. That had that sense of, I'm going to call it community, that unfortunately has kind of gone by the wayside a little bit. But there was a lot of people living down here, and just kind of interesting. Next stop, Jaroso. What's left of it anyways. Okay, so here we are at Jaroso. And remember that headstone in the graveyard that said Anderson? So this elevator in the distance here, this grain elevator, that says Anderson's on it. And that thing has been here like, I don't know, for ages. Who knows how long. But they were a family down here that historically did quite a bit in this community, evidently. This is Jaroso over here. I want to pan for a second and show you one thing real quick. That mountain right there, or I guess it's a hill, but it's in New Mexico. That's how close we are to New Mexico. But I forgot the name of it, but there's a state park on that mountain, and you can get to it from the Colorado side or the New Mexico side. There is a lot of mysterious history associated with this mountain, like murders, Indian lore, strange magic, just interesting history. If you want to do some Google research on that, you can find out more about it. But just so you know, you can actually get up on it. There's a road down this ways that actually goes over to it, and there's an entrance to get there. So you can get to it from the Colorado side. But let's take a ride through the charming town of Jaroso, Colorado. Sorry about my finger. It was over the video lens a little bit. So this is Jaroso. And like so many other towns across America, when agriculture changed, it changed. But the kind of interesting, you can see it was actually a decent sized town at one time. I mean, there's a lot of nice places here still. There are some families living here. The satellite dish is testament to that. There was a Conoco here, a gas station on Main Street. This is what would be called Main Street. And it was big enough that they actually split it, you see. This is a side going one way, this is a side going the other way. And so you had your gas station, you had a big mechanic shop over here. Yep, post office, Jaroso, Colorado. I think at one time there was a hotel here. Yeah, there's some nice old vehicles in there, some old tractors here. I mean, they had a lot going on here. And what I think these are houses now, but at one time there was a hotel in town here, and just a lot of cool stuff. So that is Jaroso, Colorado. So there's a lot of cool stuff in southern Colorado. You can do it from a day trip, even from Denver, or come across San Luis Valley if you're doing sand dunes. You can come down here, do some exploration. You know, you can come down from Fort Garland, come down this way. There's a lot of easy ways to get here. It ain't hard. So if you get to visit, come on down and see us. If you see this video and you want to leave a comment or have some other history or stuff, let me know. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.